Happy Halloween, guys. I'm sure we have to end this marathon on a downer, but it has to be done. Do people judge horror remakes too harshly? That was a question I posed to myself a couple times during the runtime of this film, as people have slandered not only this movie, but also the Friday the 13th and Halloween remake. And though they aren't great movies by any stretch of the imaginations, they're also not horrible. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street is the remake to the 1984 classic, and we follow a handful of teenagers as they try to uncover the secrets of their past as a child rapist is haunting their dreams. Now, this movie is riddled with problems, starting with its story, as we pick up in the midst of the Freddy attacks, and there really is no real explanations for when this started happening, and that's been a question I've had since the beginning of the series. I mean, it's actually never been answered. Why and when did this start happening? Well, I understand why, like, it's basically Freddy seeking revenge on the parents who burned him by killing their kids. Okay, that's a reasonable, like, revenge plot. But when did this, like, all start happening? It's really never been... I've never gotten a complete answer, and it's bothered me throughout the series. I just haven't brought it up in a video till now. Like, is it you turn a certain age, like, all of a sudden you become, like, you're 17 and you start facing Freddy in your dreams? I mean, really, man, there's no real explanation for why this is, like, happened. So the story isn't all bad. I think there's some cool aspects with it, such as the parents covering up the children's memories because of Fred Krueger. I thought that was a really interesting thing that the movie did. Also, I thought we were going to get this huge team up with all the Elm Street kids. After the events of when they were children, they kind of, like, all separated and living in different, like, places except for, like, I think 5 of them. I don't really know. But they kind of take the lazy way out instead of creating this huge, like, Elm Street Kids versus Freddy match. They just kind of say, oh yeah, they're all dead except for Nancy and Glenn. Oh, I mean Quentin. Also, the movie itself lacks consistency with its storytelling. For the first half of this film, you focus on these two teenagers who inevitably bite the dust. And I want to keep in mind this is a 95-minute film, and at around the 40-minute mark, I'm not sure, but it feels like at least halfway through the film that we switch perspectives and we focus on Nancy, Rooney Mara's character, and you don't get enough time with her. She's not well developed, so I could really care less about her when the shit hits the fan. Now, one of the biggest things this movie suffers from is its wooden acting and terrible dialogue. I mean, most of the time these actors and actresses are just pointing out this obvious or saying some really dumb, melancholy shit, and it gets really tiring after a while. Now, for most people, the reason why they went to see this film or want to see it is because they want to see Freddy in action, and for the first time in the series, Freddy is portrayed by someone other than Robert Englund, and that is Jackie Earle Haley, I believe his name is pronounced, and, well, you got the laugh right? I don't really know what to say about him. I mean, he didn't bring the amount of charisma Robert Englund did, but then again, when you think about him, Englund had how many sequels to be Freddy and mold him into, like, the asshole wisecracking killer that we all know to love. And when I really think about it, Englund played the role similar to Haley did in this film. And I feel like he did the best with what he could work with, and I don't even know if he was the best part of the film, and that's not a good thing about this movie. So a big thing this movie tries to do is it goes for this ultra-realistic approach that was a huge fad in the 2010s as well as now a little bit. But they switched Freddy's look as well, making him look like an actual burn victim rather than Freddy. And I think that was kind of a big mistake. They should have stuck with what was safe. They tried all the new things in the wrong places, and that's really strange. They should have toned back on all the blood because we don't need that and the seriousness of the story. Keep Freddy the same and just don't recreate scenes shot for shot. You're not emulating the last movie or paying homage. You're ripping it off, and it kind of pissed me off to see that. I mean, I get... Oh, man. I don't know. It's just so frustrating. I mean, you look at something like New Nightmare. This is a great example. They returned Freddy back to basics by making him scary. But what they also did was they didn't have a lot of gore or a serious story. It still had charming parts to it, but it knew what it was and it was frightening. And this movie just doesn't seem to know what it is, and it is laughable at times, like really bad. And this movie just hits you over the head with jump scares that you feel no tension by the end of it. Now, I get some people will say, like, oh, that's the point of a reboot, is to, like, recreate scenes in that. And no, it's not. My definition of a remake is to, yes, pay homage a bit to the original movie, but also try something new, but not be totally radical. It is a fine line, and most movies, well, reboots, don't seem to like hit it, and that's such a shame. This movie is also a prime example that you don't need to be so dark and gritty all the time. It doesn't make for a good story. I mean, sometimes it's even laughable, like I said. I like a bit of sugar with my Rice Krispies. I don't know what that phrase means. Well, I do, but I don't know where it came from, so I'm sorry about that. I just hope you get the point I'm trying to say. Is a movie can still be fun and charming, and still be realistic and real good. Now, this has been something I've talked about throughout the series of my reviews of this franchise, and it is no different for the reboot. Why couldn't they include the original theme, integrated it in with the film's score? I mean, they did hint at it at the beginning of the film, but that small sample was the only bit we got. Like, it wasn't even featured in the credits, and that really bummed me out. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake nobody asked for but we still got, is an interesting experience. I wouldn't really recommend watching it, but if it piqued your interest, definitely check it out. It's just a shame that most kids my age, this will be their first introduction to Freddy. I mean, just stick to the originals, man. They're way better. Like, I'll definitely check this movie out from time to time, but it won't be something I watch every time I rewatch the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And though there are some good aspects to this movie, like I enjoyed some of the plot setup and the atmosphere in this film is really good, it just really hinders your experience when you think about this movie was solely made for money. I'd love to see the iconic slashers return back to the big screens just in movies that aren't produced by Platinum Dunes. And with that being said, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 gets a 4 out of 10. Alright guys, this concludes my Nightmare on Elm Street series review for Halloween. I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun doing it. I mean, it really came down to the wire, so I'm going to prep more next summer rather than procrastinating and rushing to get these reviews out. Anyways, that's enough of my kind of rambling there. For next year, I haven't decided what to do. I thought about doing the Paranormal Activity series, but we'll see how that plays out. I don't want to review the franchise if they have another movie down the pipeline like next year. So if you enjoyed this video, please smack that like button as always, share it to your friends, and subscribe. If you want to marathon through this series, I'll definitely think about making a playlist. So yeah, I don't know what my next review will be of, but definitely look out for more stuff coming out in November and definitely December, as I'm already prepping because I have like 9 reviews set for that month. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a safe and happy Halloween. This is one of my favorite times of the year, and I hope you enjoy the big day as much as I will. Yeah, okay, see you guys next time. Peace.